All right. Good morning from Las Vegas. Welcome to the MMA Roadshow. Weigh-in edition. UFC Fight Night 229. Grant Dawson, Bobby Green, your main event. We'll get the weigh-ins underway here shortly. It's been a while since we've done this, so appreciate everybody that's jumping in real quick. We'll chat, hang out, watch some weigh-ins. Scott McCrate in the house, as always. Appreciate you, sir. And, of course, we'll have the face-offs immediately after as well. Scheduled for 11 a.m. Pacific time. John Gooden in the house, by the way. So classing it up with some British charm as we get ready to get things underway. Jeff Mullen was just here earlier checking the scales, so we're just about ready to go. Get everybody lined up. Yes, sir, Scott McCrady. It has been too long. I will not be here next Friday, unfortunately, because, well, I say unfortunately. Fortunately for me, I'm excited. I'll be in Tampa. We have a CFFC event, so it'll be a 1 week addition to the programming right now, but then we'll get back to it. So put that on your calendars for next week, CFFC. 126. Florida State Fairgrounds, Tampa, Florida. No heavyweights today, so the Andre Arlovsky rule will not be necessarily in effect. So we might actually get done with time to spare. Hang out a little bit. I'm a little bit rusty, so I'm checking on my audio levels. It's been a while. I got here a little bit extra early at Apex to set up all the gear. Couldn't remember all the settings I used every time. I'm a little bit worried that John Gooden might blow things out here in a second, so we'll make sure to make an adjustment on the fly. Consider this like a test run. Heidi Dean is in place. Nah, you're good. Let's see how many we got to start.
You're good.
Looks like we got about a dozen or so fighters that are set to go right off the top. So get a fast-paced start to the action here at UFC Fight Night 229. It does not. Trying to see if we got both of our headliners. You know, the headliners get the courtesy of if they show up, they get to move to the front of the line. A little bit of the advantage being in the main event. But it looks like there's about a dozen fighters ready to go off the top. Jeff Mullen is at the scale. Some cameras in place. The scurry of activity before the first fighter hits the scale. John Gooden's got a microphone. Well, John Gooden's done a lot of these here at the Apex, now that I think back. Oh, did just see Bobby Green show up. Looks like maybe he'll be number one. Denial, what's going on, brother? Yes, sir, the new self-made home. Well said. We got some more news coming your way, too. Those things will trickle out over the next few days and weeks.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the official weigh-ins for UFC Fight Night Dawson versus Green. Got quite a good number of fighters ready to go, so let's get to it. First of the scale, then, in the lightweight division, one half of our main events, making his second main event appearance, is Bobby Green. $156 for Bobby King Green. Next up, the second half of our main event, his first main event, Grant Dawson. £156 for Grant KGD Dawson. Main event is official. Staying with the lightweights now, making his way to the scale, currently tied for the most knockouts at lightweight, it's Drew Dober. $155.5 for Drew Dober. And his opponent making his way to the scale for his 10th appearance with the promotion, Ricky Glenn. $155.5 for Ricky the Gladiator Glenn. Okay, opening up proceedings tomorrow night in the flyweight division, Montana De La Rosa. £126 for Montana De La Rosa. Next up in the women's strawweight division, Diana Belbitsa. £115.5 for Diana Warrior Princess Belbitsa. Moving along to the flyweight division, next to the scale, Matias Mendoza. $125.5 for Matias Bocao Mendoza. Next up in bout number 2 in the bantamweight division, Arichilung. £136 for the Mongolian murderer, Arichilung. Opening up the main card in the featherweight division, first to the scale, Bill Algeo. £146 for Bill Senor Perfecto Algeo. Next is one half of our co-main event in the middleweight division, Abdul Razak Al Hassan. $184.5 for Abdul Razak Al Hassan. Staying with the middleweights and the co-main, next to the scale, 2-0 in the UFC, Joe Pyfer. £185 for Joe Body Bags Pyfer. Next up in his new home at welterweight, Joaquin Buckley. £170 for Joaquin Newmancer Buckley. Onto the bantamweight now, and next to the scale is Johnny Munoz. £136 for Johnny Kid Kavembo Munoz. Next up, our featured bout in the light heavyweight division, to the scale, Iwan Kutilaba. £205.5 for Iwan the Hulk Kutilaba. Opening up the main card tomorrow, Alexander Hernandez. $145.5 for Alexander the Great Ape Hernandez. Strawweight division now, next to the scale, Vanessa Demopoulos. £116 for Vanessa Lil Monster Demopoulos. In the flyweight division, next to the scale, Nate Manus. 126 pounds for Nate Mayhem Manus. That's all we got for you for a moment. Stand by.
All right, so we got ourselves our first break. Good to see Scott McCray in the house. Good to see Denial here. Been too long, fellas. Appreciate you spending some time on your Friday morning hanging out. Scrolling back through the chat, I see Scott McCray with a nice foin in there, and I'm pretty sure I know exactly when that was posted. By the way, of course, headliners Grant Dawson and Bobby Green were official right off the bat at 156. Joe Pyfer and a fired-up Abdul Razak Al Hassan official as well. Al Hassan 184.5, so just a half pound under. And he was yelling as he made his way to the scales. Joaquin Buckley at 170. Looking like it's not a problem for him to make that weight class. Comfortable. Says he's basically, told us the other day in the media that I think he's not eating meat, basically, a lot of fish and chicken, no red meat. But welterweight is definitely his new home. Only person we're waiting on the main card is the vet, Alex Morono. Scott McCray, I definitely do. Iwan Kutalaba, despite showing up to the media day with no beard and dressed in a suit, it was corporate Iwan Kutalaba. He actually had a nice fired up scream on the scale as well. So we'll see if we'll see what he does in the face-offs. You know, we typically count on him for a pretty good face-off. We have not seen his opponent Felipe Lenz yet. So really, at this point, looks like we're just waiting on 5 fighters. So quite a big run off the top. Just for the record, the fighters we're waiting on: J.J. Aldridge, Kaneko Murata, Karolina Kovacevic, Felipe Lenz, and Alex Morono. Mark Fellows, what's going on, brother? Having a few cocktails in Thailand. I love it. I got to make my way over there one day, man. That's one place I've, to this point, never been, man. I need to make it over there, especially given my affinity for Muay Thai and kind of how that started me down my whole MMA journey. So I definitely need to make it over there sometime soon. In the meantime, I'll just live vicariously through you. Just scrolled up denial like that, Eon. Bruce Banner Kutalaba this week. That's the perfect way to put it, right? He's not the Hulk this week. He's Bruce Banner. How great would that be if he actually was introduced that way? That would be pretty incredible. Being humbled by Cowboy, yes. Certainly a memory that will always stick, unfortunately, with Alexander Hernandez. But, man, the dude, when he made the move to featherweight, I was a little bit concerned that he was going to be able to do that. But, man, it looks like he's there, and he says this is my division, you know. Maybe take some lightweight, short notice fights every now and then. But, front row to Lumpini. I got to make that happen. Got to make that happen. That'd be fun. All right, when I'm making my way over there, I'll definitely make sure that you are in the loop. You can show me the ropes over there. Yeah, exactly. Now, I never thought he'd be able to. Well, not that I didn't think he'd be able to do it. I just didn't know where it was going to come from. But sure enough, man, he's good. Share. Got a couple people looking for a stream over on Twitter. We got to let them know they're in the new spot. Yes, sir. We'll we'll share the new spot around here. Roadshow Rendezvous in Thailand. Make that happen. We're going to make that happen. I got to figure that one out. Yeah, Denial. Just saw John from Huntington Beach was saying on Twitter he missed the live stream, so I had to share that to him. But you know how we did. Just the way we did it before. Slowly but surely. Slowly but surely. That's a good question, Denial. I'm not actually sure, to be honest with you. Let me see here. That'd be super cool if we could make it over there. Go hit up like a one Friday show and like a BKSC Saturday show or something like that. That'd be a pretty epic weekend. Mark Fellows. Pretty much the roadshow is going to be where I go. We got some other things in the works. There's going to be some news over the next couple of weeks, but interviews and basically all the content you come to expect from me, it'll just be ours now. So it'll be here. And that's what we're sharing it all. Joseph Bellotti, John Morgan, do you see the UFC booking Joe Pyfer versus Bo Nickel next? No. I mean, it could, but why have those two meet up so early in their career? You know what I mean? It's I think you got two guys that have some hype around them, obviously completely different reasons and completely different levels of hype. You know, I wouldn't put those two guys together quite this early in their career. Somewhere down the line, there's time. And look, Piper's not like a young kid, so he's not going to be around forever. He kind of said the other day in the media day, like, man, I know I got to get moving. You know, I've had these injuries that have kind of slowed my career over and over, and I know that I've got to kind of move forward. You know, I was frustrated sitting out this last surgery. In fact, he even used the word, I know I'm injury prone. So, you know, he's got to move quickly. Bo Nickel's got plenty of time to develop, but I know he doesn't want to take the slow path either. But I'm looking at the UFC roster right now. I mean, you got, let's see here. Yeah, you got 70 guys at middleweight. So with 70 guys at middleweight, I don't think I'd put those two guys together right now, because then you kind of ruin one of them for a while, right? So that would be my thought process. Yeah. Piper's in for a fight. Abdul Razak Al Hassan is a dangerous fighter. Now, Abdul, for his part, said, look, I've kind of matured a little bit too. I understand that I can't just go out and – now, he said it, but he came in here screaming and stuff at the weigh-in, so he was just as fired up as always. But he said, you know, I don't have to go all out right off the bat. You know, I have to understand that I got to leave a little something in the tank. Not his exact words, but basically he just said, you know, you kind of got to be a little bit more methodical about how you approach everything. You can't just go guns blazing in there. We'll see if he sticks to that. I think that's just kind of intrinsic to his nature. I think that's just kind of the way he performs. So I'm not necessarily expecting that, you know, he's going to be the most patient reserve fighter, especially if he gets cracked once. But he's certainly somebody that can put your lights out. Now, for his part, Joe was like, and we'll see it in the face-offs today, Joe was like, man, I'm just on a different level than that guy. You know, he's a dude that came up from welterweight. Joe's a dude that conceivably could be fighting light heavyweight. He's a big dude. I mean, he'd be undersized there, but he could. And he thinks he hits harder. He's more well-rounded, so we'll see. And Razak, of course, this week had his Buckley comments. He can't stay away from those. So, you know, he says it's not a distraction. We'll hope it's not. Joseph Velati says your broadcast partner for CFFC is rumored to be returning to the WWE. Yep, he is. I have no idea if he is or not, but it'd be good to see him. I was bummed to see how everything played out, man. For all the, I mean, I get downright frustrated when I read and hear some of the things of the criticisms of Punk. In my experiences with him, he's one of the nicest dudes you'll ever meet. So I get a little bit upset when people besmirch his character. But we'll see. I'd love to see him back in WWE. Not, you know, I mean, he knows it. Everybody. I'm not the biggest pro wrestling guy, but I like seeing him when he's doing it, just because I don't know. It's cool to see him out there doing his thing, man. When I got a chance to see him do AEW in Vegas the night he won the belt, like, me and my family had a really good time, man. It was cool. I was super happy for him. Now we're going. We got Cody Merrow in the house. Cody Merrow can finally break the silence. It was good to hear from you. Good to see you here, my man. Appreciate all the help over the last year and a half. Looking forward to future projects together. Denial, Ewan and him trying to turn a new leaf. Yeah, right. Yeah, Ewan and Razak both kind of came in like, nah, I'm a little bit more reserved right now. But, you know, once they get cracked like one time, that's just who they are. They're just going to start throwing down. Mark Fellows with the solid graphics reference. Ha, yes, sir, Cody Merrow, yes, sir. Yeah, we got to get that going. Now we can just do whatever we want. Now I don't have to worry about anybody. What does anybody else think? Don't know. Don't care. Do we like it? That's what we're doing. I will tell you what, man. Wow, what a long journey it's been. But I'm just thinking back to the days of Dan Stupp and the original days of MMA Junkie. And obviously he started it, but then once he brought me on board, before we sold to Gannett, like the ability to just be talking and be like, you know what? I want to try this. Let's do that. I like this better. Okay, let's do that. That's big, man. That's big. Lesson for everybody out there. Yeah. No, they couldn't resist yelling around the scale, for sure. You know, yeah, we're calm. We're good. And they both come out screaming. Oh, man. All right, so just for the record, for anybody that's just joined in, because then we had a couple people pop on. But we're really just waiting on 5 people at this moment. Obviously, got more than 90 minutes to go. But J.J. Aldrich, Kaneko Murata, Karolina Kovacevic, Felipe Lins, and Alex Morono. Those are the 5 we're waiting on. Sorry, I got a few text messages there that people that were just getting the news had to answer that back. All right, let's scroll back here. Joseph Bilotti. John, from your understanding, you know the main event of the UFC rumor card in Austin, Texas on December 2nd. I always forget those. I got Alex Buchanan next to me. I'll ask him. I can't keep anything straight. We know that the main event is for December 2nd yet?
It's not official.
Not official yet? Nope, not official yet. Sorry. Cody Cold Coffees. Yep. You know he did. You know he did. You could scroll back to that one. Mark Pellis jumped in after it started. Oh, yes. The greatest story ever told. Ah, Miss Fiasco. We actually just, well, I guess we can talk about it now. I guess we're not upsetting anybody. Yeah, I mean, whatever. We actually just republished a bunch of episodes that we had taken down when the whole Fiasco Jones situation was unfolding. That one still weighs heavy on me, but I think he's happy in his new position and enjoys the way everything turned out. But yeah, for a while we took down all the episodes that he was in a desperate attempt to try to save his job, and then that didn't work out. So yeah, we could talk about anything now. Who's gonna get mad at me? Nobody. Oh, Cody, that was a good one too. That was great. The EA Sports people were not happy with me and Cold Coffee. I didn't know. Yeah, Mark, that was Cold Coffee was messing around and realized that we still had a bunch of episodes unpublished, and he couldn't remember why. Then he was like, "Oh yeah, that's why." I was like, "Well, I guess I might as well publish them again." But I think a couple of them went through on like social media or something, like through an automated link, and so it popped up some weird like old episodes or whatever. But that's what happens. And yeah, the EA Sports story is a good one. We accidentally leaked. For anybody that doesn't know, we're all friends here, but we accidentally revealed some details of the game that we weren't supposed to reveal, that we didn't realize we weren't supposed to reveal. But it was funny because it was like 40 minutes into a podcast and we didn't put any notes of it anywhere. And yet somebody got wind of it, and we got talking to the next day. Man, there's so many fun stories over the years I totally forget about. Allegedly. Exactly. I mean, trust a man whose name is Denial. Oh, man. Been a while. I missed these chats. We'll start building it back up again. Honestly, I didn't want to push out a whole bunch of notices for it because I wasn't sure. I was rusty. I actually showed up early here to the Apex day because it had been a while since I'd set up all the gear and everything. You know, that's definitely not my strong suit. Like, I mean, how many years did I work with Cold Coffee and let him handle all the tech stuff? So I was a little bit worried. I got here early. Was worried my levels were going to be all jacked up. But it seems to be okay. Well, I scrolled about Denial, Bobby, or Grant. Man, I'm just a straight up Bobby Green homer. I'm gonna be honest, man. I like the dude as a person. I like the dude as a fighter. He's such a unique style, unique, just the way he carries himself. You know what I mean? In this era of like everybody kind of doing the same thing and becoming. You know, everybody's well-rounded, obviously, these days, but just he has such a unique style to it. So I'm a big fan of his. But stylistically, this is a tough fight, and Grant Dawson is that guy. I do think Bobby Green's. I do think a lot of people underestimate his defensive wrestling. I think he is a lot better in that than people give him credit for. Obviously, you know, you point to fights like Islam, and okay, but that's on another level. So it's a tough fight, but. I'd probably have to go with Dawson, but my heart's going to be cheering for Green.
Why you way back there?
I might have to clip that out and put it on the site by itself or something. God, I forgot about that. That is an insane story. An absolutely insane story. And Fiasco's a pretty good storyteller just because he's a character. But to think about what he did. God, I hadn't thought about that in a while. It's crazy. Okay, I like it. Early defense and late chaos. That's the path. That's definitely the path. And Grant, you know, he said, listen, I know people are, I got tired in one fight. And because I got tired in one fight, people are trying to say, I have cardio issues and I have gassing issues. I don't believe that's true. But I mean, we're talking about a 5-round fight, right? Is there an extra adrenaline dump with the need to, be the main event? I mean, all these are possibilities. It's, they're fair questions to ask. I'm not asserting that there's no way Grant Dawson can go 5 rounds. Nah, you're not saying that. But he even brought it up. I know what the criticism is. I know what people say. So it's a fair question. If I say like when somebody changes weight classes, it's a fair question to say, will it affect them? Well, I mean, until you see the answer, that's the great thing about this game. Until you see the answer, it is a question. It is an unknown. It is a variable. And so I think it's possible. But we'll see. Yeah, I thought, boy, that was another great story from the media day too, right? Like, and I'd seen some interviews with Grant Dawson. I was like, I know he's trying to get in my head. I know he's whatever. But I thought it was great that he's like, Bobby Green can't trick me. Because Bobby Green came in first to media day, and he did a great media day, and then he closed it out with kind of like a mic drop moment where he was like, you know, Grant, I know you're going to be watching this. And he's looking straight at the camera, and he's like delivering a message, and he's like, you know, keep that same energy when you get in. You know, you're trying to be nice to me, but I saw like a promo you did, and, you know, you were saying that, you know, how you were going to be beating me in this and that. Keep that same energy. And, you know, kind of just a little challenge to him, a little message. And so Grant came in afterwards, and I was like, have you seen that yet? And he's like, no, I haven't seen it yet. And I'm like, well, here's what it was. You know, what's your reaction to that? And Grant was like, Bobby Green can't fool me. He's a nice guy. And then he proceeded to tell a story that I'd never heard before. I'm sure it had been out before, but I'd never heard that Grant was a fan of Bully Beatdown back in the day when he was a kid. And he reached out to, like, all the athletes via social media that were on there to ask him, you know, whether it was real or it was fake. And he's like, Bobby Green was the only one that got back to him. I thought that was a hilarious little backstory there. And so Grant's been saying, like, hey, I know Bobby's going to talk. Like, I'm a fan of Bobby. I know what he does. He's not going to get in my head. But you could say all that. You could say all that. But when you're getting in there in real time, and it's a fist fight, and, you know, it's one thing to not get caught up in it in exchanges in the media or caught up in it in exchanges in interviews. It's another thing if somebody punches you in the mouth and then they start talking trash to you. Can you keep your head cool then? Do you not get involved in? So I'm excited. Good point to know. All right, Scott McCray with an update. So the Bellator weigh-ins are going on right now. Alima McFarland weighed in twice, 127.4 and 126.5. Not sure if she gets another chance. In California, I don't think she'll get another chance. It's just a fight. All right. Alex Buchanan next to me says the update says it's no longer a title fight. It's just a fight. Mm-hmm. So Lima Lay misses weight. Next Australia card. Mark, I don't think I've heard that yet. Yeah, to be honest, I don't think I've heard that yet. I haven't heard a ton of 2024 dates yet. But I don't think I've heard that. Oh. Yeah. Yeah, that one's not happening. Yeah, the whole thing about fighting her teammate, like that, I'm going to say, okay, security movement, looks like we're going to get back to business. Yeah, the Bader fight called off.
Stand by, everyone.
All right, getting back to work. Alex Morono is going to be next. He's calling for the towel. You can't make the fight look good.
Paging Heidi Dean. Heidi Dean to the scales, please.
Alex Morono is not looking particularly fantastic right now.
Okay, we're all set. In the welterweight division, Alex Morono. $170.5 for Alex, the Great Whites Morono. Give us a couple of minutes. Thank you.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? Because Alex was even talking about how he was excited that this wasn't a short notice fight, that, he had plenty of time to prepare and train for it. He pulled it together on the scale, but I can tell you, while we were waiting to get set, he was kind of, it just didn't look great. He was kind of doubled over on his knees and didn't look great, so hopefully it was good. Yeah, like you said, he did raise his hands, did walk fine. That was a little bit scary there for a moment, though. And yes, Scott McCrate, that was a first. We've never had that before. Good point, Cody, on Bader. And look, I'm curious about the whole thing, and obviously, we've been talking about it a little bit, but if this PFL Bellator thing unfolds the way we all assume it will, you just wonder, how do they handle that many fighters? How do they handle that much addition to the roster? I'm not sure. Yeah, so it's interesting when we talk about PFL Bellator. So some of the things I've heard are, number one, that Bellator will need to be kept around for at least a year to finish out like TV contracts and things of that nature, so that the Bellator will operate independently. If this is all under the idea that it happens the way we think it's going to happen, that it will still stick around for a while. But the other thing that's interesting is PFL only uses 10 fighters per weight class. That's like all they need. Maybe some alternates here and there. They don't need a lot of bodies. Now, I do agree that the Bellator roster is incredible. So the idea of cherry picking the Bellator roster and mixing that with the PFL roster, like, you're going to have some really good seasons. Now, are they names that necessarily people, like, it's just going to change the game in terms of ratings and fan interest? Like, I don't think so. I mean, I feel like some of the Bellator Grand Prix have been, like, criminally underappreciated in terms of the quality of the fighters that were there, So I don't know. But again, you only need like 10, maybe 12 fighters per weight class. So you got to really consider that. And I heard a lot of people say, like, and again, this is just my belief, so I could be wrong here, but well, what if they just go to a more traditional model where they go away from the season format? But I cannot imagine that. PFL has spent their entire, their entire identity is, we're the only MMA organization that has a real sports season format, the only MMA organization where you qualify for playoffs and then you make it to a championship. And then, they have these regional organizations that are still being set up, right? Like PFL Europe. We're supposed to see PFL Middle East next year. Another one to PFL Asia, PFL South America. And they always liken it to the Champions League. for any of you soccer/football fans out there, right? Where it's like, hey, we take the best. I just don't see them going away from that. What's that?
Bye, everyone.
Tana? Her husband. Mark De La Rosa. Mark, yeah. All right, back to work.
Okay, opening up the card tomorrow, making her third appearance of 2023, JJ Aldrich. $125.5 for JJ Aldrich.
All right, that leaves us with 3. Yeah, so
3
scrolling.
to go, no one in the wings. We'll keep you posted. Thank you.
John Gooden's so polite with his updates. Yeah, Cody, you bring up a good point. We'll really talk about the merger in 2025 when the ESPN deal is up. And I saw Denial say that I think UFC leaves ESPN and the PFL takes that. So that's a very real possibility. Like, you've got to think, I mean, look at the money that Amazon and Apple are throwing around. I mean, look at this whole, game-changing deal with Messi and MLS and all that. I mean, the streaming services have insane amounts of money, especially when it comes to Amazon and Apple. I know that Netflix is having some subscriber churn and all that, but Apple and Amazon are loaded with cash. And to have a premium property like that on their site would be huge. Now, how that affects the numerous broadcast deals you have around the world, because you got to remember ESPN isn't the global broadcast partner. That's just one place. So, but, maybe do you end up geo-restricting it or whatever. But there's a very real possibility that the UFC leaves ESPN. I don't think they're trying to exit out, but if they can do it themselves, and as you're saying, like, if it's just direct to consumer, where now you're not even worrying about carriage fees and stuff like that, but then the PFL could absolutely swoop in and take their spot. This is what I've been saying too, like the PFL doing pay-per-view on ESPN, like, I don't think that's purely just their insistence. I think ESPN wants to test that out as well. So I think there's going to be some interesting maneuvering over the next couple years. Now, look, the UFC is still the leader in the clubhouse, bro. They're still the industry giant. Like, I don't think anybody's – it's not like number 2 is sneaking up on number 1, and UFC better watch their back or their brand popularity. No, it's not that. But it's just an opportunity for potentially PFL and Bellator as a combined entity to take that spot on ESPN and make some decent money at it, and that's what it's all about. Yeah, and I think it's a great point, Cody, about the goal is to be the best number 2 in the world, and I think it's as much as PFL touts themselves as a disruptor and their growth and all this, I think they realize that too. You're not trying to take down the industry giant, and Don Davis, I've seen him say it out there, and he's actually right where he talks about the MMA community is actually underserved when you think about it's weird, right, when we talk about the watering down, like the saturation of the market with the UFC because there's 40 cards a year. Like, how many basketball games are there a year? How many baseball games are there a year? How many soccer games are there a year? You know what I mean? Like, you can watch those sports every night of the week. You can only watch the UFC one night a week on 40 different weeks. You know, not add in contender series and that stuff. So absolutely. And that's another reason why I think the PFL won't change their format. Like, I think they like not just being, you know, UFC light. I think they like being an alternative and presenting themselves in a different manner. And while their goal is to be a number 2, they have a differentiator into why they're a different product and not just the same thing. I think it's going to be interesting. And look, at the end of the day, the UFC could end up right back on ESPN. I mean, ESPN is still the big powerhouse, and they've been great partners. And, I mean, ESPN still is the leader in sports broadcasting. And, I mean, they've been great partners in terms of, like, I mean, I still think that's cool to, like, just be watching some regular ESPN programming, and you've got a constant ad for the upcoming card down in the lower right-hand section of the screen. I mean, that's a partnership there, right? Like, not we're running a couple commercials here and there. Like, we've got an ad for your product at all times on the screen. That's pretty cool. This is so true. No, we want everything. I got one championship on Friday. I got even this one, right? It looks like, I guess the way it's set up, it looks like, which I thought they were going straight head-to-head, but I was looking at the broadcast times. It looks like the Bellator main card should be after the UFC main card wraps up. So, you know, at least they're not complete head-to-head. I have trouble concentrating when there's two fights on. I feel like I'm just splitting my interest so much that it's hard to soak them in the same way. Uh-oh. Let's check the email here. Hold on. Cody Merrill's bored, so he's got some graphics. All right, let's see if I can remember how to do this. It's been a while. All right, Cody Merrill's creating graphics on the fly, just out of sheer boredom. That's the kind of guy he is. That's why I like working with Cody Merrill. He's like, I was just chilling. Let's see. Is it as simple as just dragging it in there? Oh, Cody, we're bringing Lethway. Well, let's bring Lethway to Colorado. Do I just drag it into sources? Oh, yeah, it's that easy. Look at that. Huh? Graphics, son. Well done, sir. Well done. No, that part of it, denial, I don't think the U.S. would ever go for. That is weird. But I like the fact that Colorado's out there trying new things. I really do. I know there's been this whole backlash. Hey, you like that? Feel free to weigh in on the graphics there that Cody Merrill just threw together in 2 seconds because he's the man. I kind of hate the fact that, you know, that there's the rift between the ABC and Colorado for trying something new. I don't feel like they're just going at it like the Wild West. I think they're trying to look at it from an educated perspective. So Lethway might be a little bit much. The headbutts, the length of time for recovery, that one might be a huge one. Yeah, I mean, because you look at bare knuckle, and really, I mean, the cuts are definitely worse. There's no question about it. Like, some of the visuals are pretty graphic, but the serious injuries are caused by repetitive blows, right? I mean, what's the old saying, right? The old truth of it is that, you know, gloves are not meant to protect the head; they're meant to protect the hands. So, you know, you talk about it with the guys in bare knuckle and the girls in bare knuckle. Like, you have to be really careful how you strike because you can break your hands, and if you break break your hands in a fight where you don't have takedowns, you don't have elbows, you don't have knees, like you're kind of screwed. So you have to be really, really careful the way you throw punches and the way you pick your shots. So I'll be honest, like in the beginning, I was a little bit when bare knuckle first started legalized. I'm like, what are we doing? Like, what? Are we going backwards? But then as you start to take it in, you start to realize, like, yeah, I mean, again, visually speaking, it's graphic, cuts, but I don't think it's any more. At the end of the day, it's combat sports. And it's a little bit brutal, but it's kind of weird to draw the line somewhere and be like, well, I'm okay with this, but not that. Like, why? Yeah. The see, in denial. See, this is always my argument about knees to a down opponent. And I like knees to the head of a ground opponent just because it forces fighters to move and not stall out in those positions. And the argument is always like how brutal it's going to be, but you also have to remember at the same time that like people aren't going to stay in that position because they know they can be kneed. They stay in the position because there isn't a risk of knees, So they stay in that kind of stalled out, turtled position, and it slows things down. If you see it in like rule sets that don't allow that, the fighter moves out of that position because they realize they can't stay there. The soccer kicks to the head. See, now here I am. That might be my limit. The soccer kicks might be my limit. Like, it doesn't look sporting to me, but yeah, it's combat, man. It's hand-to-hand combat. Cody, Bobby Green want to fight by headbutt. That's funny. Yeah, the head stomps with the if the foot's if the head's like flat on the canvas, that's pretty tough. That's pretty tough. But yeah, like when a guy's just kind of like playing guard or whatever, like, and you're against a standing opponent, I agree. Like, let's see some move. All right, I think everybody here is aware, but since we're at like kind of that 1 hour mark, just to make sure everybody's up to date, just waiting on Kaneko Murata, Karolina Kowalkiewicz, and Felipe Lin. So 3 fighters left to go, and then of course we'll have the face-offs here immediately after. Oh, commission getting back in place.
Stand by, everyone. Thank you.
Get back to work.
Next to the scale in the strawweight division. Not seen since June 2021. Welcome back, Kaneko Murata.
$115.5.
115.5 for Kaneko Murata.
Thank you. Yes. I tried to get here early enough to watch it, but I just couldn't.
Okay, so just the one.
I know now. Then
2 more to go.
Right.
Ooh. Head hit a metal ball cage, which was against the cement wall. Oof.
Talk to her. I know.
That's rough.
I'm mad that the nurse still wanted to be with DJ. I'm not. I'm like, why do you still want to be with him? Like he wasn't. He was so judgmental. But she gave her truth, and you were no better. I know. He's very self-righteous. But Lydia's crazy.
Just got an email for my instructions for the Sphere tonight. Taking the family to go preview the upcoming UFC venue. Oh, well, John Jones flamed Chatri yesterday?
How did she say? How did she know to wait for the cliffhanger? Well, because she must have already watched all four of them. Oh, she had already done that.
I didn't see that.
She was on it. Yeah, she said wait for the cliffhanger.
Wow. I'm assuming that was the oh, that's a good point then. And John was training with Gordon Ryan, which Gordon had a contract with one, but then it never panned out.
He's gonna have to follow you somewhere else.
That's hilarious. So was that on Cody? Was that did One Championship like post that quote that Chatri had? I mean, I know exactly what it must have been. Obviously, the low-level strikers and low-level grapplers in the UFC.
Got the name of it already, but it's level of spectrum. How did you know?
Oh, the phones being sequestered. Keep everybody off their phones. That would be pretty amazing.
No, I haven't, because she just came over like.
Except the UFC shows are like 6.5 hours long, so that'd be pretty tough.
No, there was
I do want to see it though. I'm super excited to go see the Sphere tonight. Like, I know you guys have all seen the YouTube visuals, so I am not going to see YouTube tonight. So for anybody that doesn't know, there's another form of entertainment there. There's going to be a bunch of them. There's going to be a bunch of like shows and stuff like that. Let's see. Here's a description of it. Let's see.
With the strike didn't do nothing else. It's got me watching stuff.
See if I can post this in the chat.
Because with the writers being on strike, none of the regular programs.
Yeah, the U2 show was my wife and kid aren't really big U2 fans, so it sounded like a little expensive. Let's see.
Stand by, everyone. Thank you.
Oh.
I'm watching the old one though.
I heard that one's good. The old people version? Yeah, golden badge.
Only because I was gonna watch that.
Making her way to the scale in the women's strawweight division, running a 3-fight win streak, Karolina Kowalkiewicz. £116 for the number 15 ranked Karolina Kowalkiewicz.
trust the man. That's what he does for a living.
Baby. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good job. Thank you. Woo! Let's go! Loudest I've ever heard her.
For sure.
How many years?
Yeah.
She does not act like that. What's happening?
Right. Love that they do it when you're done counting. That's what we want you to do.
Kavalkovich, I guess it is. I always thought it was Kovacevic, but I trust John Gooden. But gave a little scream, said, let's go. So that takes us down to just one. Just waiting on Felipe Lenz. I see you, Scott McCrate. Yeah, no, I mean, you two have some good music. Like, I would have gone probably just to be there, like, the first night to see the Sphere, because, like, everybody, at least here in Vegas, everybody was super excited to see what it looked like, especially, like, once they, I don't think anybody cared until they, I mean, not nobody cared. Like, we all knew about it, but it was just like, what is this supposed to be? What's it going to be? Da-da-da. And then when they first, I think it was, like, 4th of July weekend when they turned on the exterior, and everybody was like, oh, man, like, this thing is awesome. And then at that point, you start getting, like, super, like, all right, what's this going to be about? And then I wasn't going to buy tickets because it's not very expensive, but it's expensive. It's not cheap. I think the U2 tickets were all like $500 a piece. And then the postcards from the Edge, I think the tickets are like $60 a piece, which isn't a lot of money, but it's basically like I hate to say it's like a movie because it's not just a movie, obviously. But I was like, I don't know, man, that's a lot of money. And I don't even know if it's going to be any good or not. And then we went to go see the Cosm experience in Utah, Salt Lake City, around that UFC pay-per-view event. And I literally went back to my hotel that night and bought tickets to the to the opening night of the Sphere because I was like, oh, we got to go. I got to see this because I thought the Cosm experience was so awesome. And so we're going tonight. So tonight's the first show that's not a U2 event. And normally, I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of bougie. I like to roll VIP if I can, get the best experience. I'm like, if I'm gonna go, let's make it legit. But all the good tickets were all sold out, so we're kind of sitting in the nosebleeds. But it looks honestly like for this, like the nosebleeds might not be the worst because you get to see kind of like more of the screen or whatever. So I don't know what to expect tonight, but I'm excited for it. I'm excited to go check it out. So I will report back to everybody on what we see inside the Sphere. But yeah, if you listen to this week's edition of the Roadshow, me and Cole Coffee were talking a little bit about kind of what the experience might be like for a UFC event, because it is weird when you look at those visuals, right? Like U2, I mean, we were kind of joking, like you could probably have that whole thing like without U2 actually being there, just have like a DJ playing some music or something, because they're like tiny in that big ass venue. So. Since when did California allow that? Alex Buchanan is updating me via a tweet from Drake Riggs that Alima is getting an extra hour. I swear California never used to let anybody get an hour. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I remember that. I just remember, like, California used to, like, make you get naked even if you wanted to weigh in behind the like, you're like, no, I think I can make it. And they're like, oh, you only get one time. So maybe they've changed. Yo, John Castillo in the house. What's going on? We back. We're only back for a week, unfortunately, because I'm out of town next week. I got a CFFC gig next week. But this will be the new home. They should do an Avian Awards at the Sphere. All right, Cody Merrill. Let's hear what it is. Said Drake Riggs offered me the worst fantasy football trade of all time this week. Appreciate you checking in, John Castillo. Appreciate everybody that has followed us from place to place, from town to town. Still got some more announcements to make over the next couple days and weeks, but we're moving forward. And it's fun to be actually able to do this. It was kind of funny when Cold Coffee and I started the MMA Roadshow like 8 years ago. 8+ years ago, if you can imagine that. Part of it was just for fun, but part of it was always to have an option to do things like this. All right, commission getting back in place.
Stand by. Thank you.
So we're going to wrap things up. Still have the face-offs, of course.
In our featured prelim bout in the light heavyweight division, running a 3-fight win streak, Felipe Lins. 204 pounds for Felipe Monstro Lins. And that concludes the weigh-ins. Thank you very much, everyone. We'll see you tomorrow.
Wait. Face-offs, John Gooden. Face-off, John Gooden.
Well, that's a Sean Shelby thing, not a John Gooden.
But he said see you tomorrow. He's trying to send everybody home.
Oh.
Please stick around for the face-offs, though. They'll be fun.
They're going to get you, John. Yeah, my bad. I was thinking he was an athlete.
All right, I'm gonna little funny moment there. It's the little things. All right, I'm gonna switch out the lens here so we can go a little bit wider shot for the. We gotta let him know, guys. We got, he's new around here. He's new around here. You'll lose the video stream for just a second. Actually, wait, hold on. Can I do this? What if I do this? No, wait. Ooh, look at that. There you go. Oh, look. I'm getting a hold of this thing, man. I'm figuring it out. All right, I'm going to switch out the lenses on this. So we get a little wider shot for the face-offs. Theoretically, it should be 45 minutes from now. If Sean Shelby gets here earlier, maybe we'll get here earlier. We'll see. Give me 1 second.
The official weigh-ins in London,
We always have a second.
we wrap up and we're gone.
Because we are, because on the road, we always have a second round.
Yeah.
Especially in
Just not paying attention.
it's just different here. We don't have to do that afternoon thing. Yay.
Yeah, exactly that. Me crying in my room by myself. Sadly, it's just water. And roofing. We don't really.
You don't have to
Well,
share over there.
no, it's not popular, but I have it over here. My teeth feel like they're going to fall out after. It's more sugar than anything else I've ever known in my life. I had a look at the can after I'd enjoyed one. 40 grams of sugar.
Well, but the thing that's interesting in Europe, they have children's medicine that tastes like that. So that's why most of Europeans don't like
Boom. Just like that. We're back.
because they taste it and they go,
Big Ben, what's going on, brother?
Reminds me of a charm.
no. So any Spaniard, you get them root beer, they go, fuck yeah.
Big Ben, always here to Always a big Roadshow supporter, always a big John Morgan supporter, and always a big Mike and Mish supporter as well. Next week I'm super busy, but I'll definitely join with them. Those guys are good guys, man. I enjoyed the one appearance I did with them. Those are good dudes. But next week I'm busy because I got to. We're gonna go make the trip down to Florida. We're gonna head out Tuesday, and we're gonna hit up ATT and Killcliff for some PFL preview interviews, and then CFFC on Friday night from the Florida State Fairgrounds. So if you're in the Florida area, Tampa, Florida State Fairgrounds on Friday night. It's a new venue. We usually at the Seminole Hard Rock down there, but we've had like 6 straight sellouts, and we had a lot of requests for just more tickets, and obviously to do it on the weekend as well. And the Seminole Hard Rock is packed, and they don't really need entertainment on the weekend, so we were doing Thursday nights there, which were great. But a lot of people wanted, like, can you please come on the weekends? Because, like, we can't go because we have work the next day, and, like, we can't ever get seats because it's been sold out every time. So, anyway, trying a new venue this next weekend, next Friday night, and we'll see it. Hopefully it works out for everybody. So, new venue if you're in the Tampa area. All right, since we got a quick break before the face-offs, I'm going to make a quick dash for a quick little break. I'll be back in like 2 minutes. Okay, apologies. We're back. No indication just yet if we'll go early, so potential that we've got 40 minutes until the face-offs. Sometimes we go a little bit early if everybody gets cleared for medicals and if Sean Shelby's ready to go. Oh, yeah, I should probably make this shot wider since we got the graphics. That's producing on the fly right there. Producing on the fly. Shout out to Cody Merrill for the nice little on-the-fly graphics. Travis Kelce for Kittle, Jacobs, Jamar Chase. Crazy. Haha. Yeah, BKSC's got to get Mike Perry. back in there. He's made for that place, isn't he? He's found such success over there. It's just like the perfect fit between those two. I see. It seems like a lot of public sentiment is that hoping that Perry steps in for Dennis. I don't think that'll be getting my pay-per-view dollars, if I'm being honest, but I guess we'll see how the weekend's going next weekend. The next weekend, right, I think.
Put in overtime now, thanks to you.
He was like, I was out, bro. I had one foot out the door.
Just remembering, like, I normally, when we do it in Europe, because they have the ceremonial.
Yeah.
Like, I do this and I'm gone.
Oh, I know. Like, I remember, like the time was like 30 minutes, whatever. We're like, dude, I'm out. Let's go.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah.
Like,
Completely forgot about this bit.
no.
So there you go. Thank you for the reminder.
Too funny. Yeah, Scott, I'm kind of the same way. I'm like, I don't know. And then, like, the day of, you're just like, what the hell? It's only $50, $60, whatever it is. Like, let's go. I don't even know what day that's on. When was that pay-per-view? Ooh, October 14th. So it's on a Saturday. See, I kind of liked when they were doing the Sundays, but I guess maybe they've decided that Saturdays are better. Yeah, because on next Saturday, I'll be here. So next Saturday, yeah, I fly back Saturday morning. I think I land at like 11:30, and then that's Yusuf and Barbosa here at the Apex. I was planning on coming basically straight to the Apex from the airport. So would I buy the pay-per-view and have it on in the background from Media Row? Got to make those calls. What they say? We're getting started early? Just heard operations off of this. Sounds like maybe we're getting started early. Oh, yep. They are lining up the fighters right now, so get ready, guys. It'll still be a few minutes. They're lining them up right now. It looks like we're going to get an early start. Oh, yeah, him versus Lorenzo would be great. Mike Perry versus Lorenzo would be great. Denial. I think so. I'll be honest with you. I think they both retire. I think.
Yeah, I saw it ringing. I just
I'm
can't.
trying to think if John Jones loses the future. I'm trying to think.
Like, I don't know you got it. You're coming.
Because if John Jones loses, then you know he'd want to come back and try to win it, right? But does he really want, like, does it get him excited to face Aspinall or Sergey? I don't know. So I kind of want to say I think they both retire regardless.
Because
You don't know that by now.
I know he does. And Roach was like, did he go offside for coffee? I'm like, no, I think he just went to the kitchen.
That's a cold coffee cameo appearance there with his right shoulder in my shot. No respect. No respect. Cold coffee has no respect for the MMA Roadshow.
No respect.
Can you kick out a little bit?
Yeah, I got JJ. No, you're good. You're good. You're good. It's just the corner of it.
To wind up.
Yeah, I do deny. I think Jones wins. I think he's great. I know a lot of people hate on John Jones.
I got respect.
He's directing over there. Yeah. And then you just kind of turn it over to the next generation, right? And then you do Sergey and Aspinall for the vacant title.
But your lease payments will go towards some of that purchase. Good. Just take it. Yeah. Are you gonna do a fighter team or are you gonna do a school?
That's a newer one. I got the older model.
For finally winning a game.
Denial. That's funny. I forgot. Yeah, I forgot. I tell you what, though, man. When he was facing Gon, the whole week, I'm like, he's got this. I mean, you know, for weeks, for months, I was like, he's got this. He's got this. And then when they stepped in the cage and Gon was like right in front of me on our side of the cage, I was like, holy Christ, he's big. Like, this is, like, I don't know. I got nervous at the last second, thought I was totally wrong. But, yeah, I get it that Aspinall maybe doesn't deserve it yet,
Games
but,
1, 2, 3, and 4.
I mean,
Because my son literally.
Blades just lost to Sergey. So, I mean, who would you go? Like, I mean, obviously Sergey's in, right? So let's. So you're saying Dugan and Sergey?
But I am.
Yeah. Okay, Sean Chubb is here. Let's go.
Good morning, folks. Welcome to the face-offs for UFC Fight Night Dawson versus Green. We're all about set to get things going. Kicking off the night in the women's flyweight division, JJ Aldrich versus Montana De La Rosa. JJ Aldrich versus Montana De La Rosa. Moving along to the bantamweight division, Johnny Kid Gavembo Munoz versus the Mongolian murderer Arichi Long. Munoz versus Arichi Long. Next up in the women's strawweight division, Kanako Murata versus Vanessa Lil Monster Demopoulos. Morata versus Demopoulos. Next up in the flyweight division, Matias Mendoza versus Nate Mayhem Manus. Bocau versus Manus. Next up in the women's strawweight division, Diana Warrior Princess Belbitsa versus Karolina Kowalkiewicz. Belbitsa versus Kowalkiewicz at strawweight. Wrapping up the prelims in the light heavyweight division, Iwon Kutilaba and Felipe Lins. The Hulk versus Monstro at 205. Moving along to the main card, kicking off in the featherweight division, Bill Senor Perfecto Algio versus Alexander the Great Ape Hernandez. Algio and Hernandez kick off the main card. Next up, a lightweight fixture between Ricky, the Gladiator Glenn, and Drew Dober. Glenn versus Dober at 155. Moving along to the welterweight fixture between Joaquin Newmancer Buckley and Alex the Great White Morono. Joaquin Buckley versus Alex Morono. Co-main event is in the middleweight division between Abdul Razak Al Hassan and Joe Bodybags Pfeiffer. Al Hassan and Pfeiffer is your co-main. And wrapping up the night, it is a lightweight main event between Bobby King Green and Grant KGD Dawson. It's all hotting up for our main event between Bobby King Green and Grant KGD Dawson. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. We will see you tomorrow. We kick things off at 1 p.m.
Oh man, Bobby Green. I'm telling you, anytime he fights, sign me up. I want to watch it. He makes it exciting. Had some fireworks. Guys, appreciate everybody that joined in here today. Fun seeing everybody. You guys are the best, man. We'll start building things up from here. Great talking to you as always. Man,
Enjoy the weekend. Thanks for joining. We'll do this again real soon, guys. Thank you all.